as Nashville continues to grow and continues to evolve, we're not going to be the last cranes in the air in this city. And they can take that skill and go change generations of their family through that project. We've got a one community concept that we're rallying around, where there's 16 different programs that we know the microscope's on us. We know people are looking at us and saying, this is a really big project. There's a lot of public support for this project. What do you guys stand for? What are you doing? And we've listened to neighbors around the city saying, here's the challenges we're facing, or here's the opportunities that are there that we can't take advantage of. And you and I have had this conversation. If we wait, this is not a political statement, if we wait for the governments of the state of Tennessee and Metro Nashville to solve all of the problems in this city or take advantage of all the opportunities, we'll just be waiting. They don't have the resources we have. They don't have the skill set that we all have. They don't have the lack of red tape that we have. And so you hear things about, for example, small businesses in neighborhoods surrounding our stadium that aren't able to take advantage of some of the growth opportunities. And we've talked to Citizens Bank, it's the oldest black-owned bank in the country, about what do they think about that issue. And they've said, listen, we've got regulatory issues where there are businesses that the business plan, the business leader we believe in, and we want to give them a loan to go from point C to point D in their business, or to get their business off the ground, and we can't do it without getting into regulatory problems. If we could just have some money parked here, we could give those loans, use your money as the collateral, and that business will change, and that business will change. Some of the loans may fail, and then we're covering in that gap, but for the loans that are good loans that end up working well, it's going to matter to that small business owner. That small business owner may create jobs that stay in that neighborhood, and it's an ecosystem that we're creating. And that's one of 16 programs that we're doing that we genuinely think will move the needle. I mean, it is going to matter to the people who participate in those programs. And frankly, we use opportunities like this one today to evangelize for these concepts of like, what are the opportunities that Belmont University has, and a local bank has, and a construction company has, to look at the challenges and the opportunities in our city and do your part to fill in some of those gaps. The imagery I have in my head was, not long ago, as Nashville started to change and start to grow and thrive, the imagery I have in my head is the Titans at some point became something like a cobweb-filled castle up on the hill, right? And was really missing what was happening down in the village as color pops were, and activity was starting. And so, I think there are times where it's okay that the commercial purpose happens to line up with the civic purpose too, right? And the civic duty. I think this is the type of community that will not support an organization that isn't civic-minded, that isn't doing good things, that isn't involved, isn't making a difference, and representing the community well, isn't leveraging their stewardship to do good things, and just model what's right. And I think actually the opposite's true too. Is that we've got a whole lot of people moving in here all the time, and I actually think for even some of the other sports franchises in the city, it is more likely that they will move here with an allegiance to an NFL team. And so if they're moving here as a Packers fan or a Cowboys fan or a Bears fan, we're probably going to have a hard time walking them off of that. Those are like religious fandoms very often, right? I know. I've got plenty of Bears fans that they've asked for tickets to Bears-Titans games, and then to my dismay, they show up just totally Bears garb. And I'm like... But I believe there are not many people who have moved to Nashville reluctantly, right? They're not looking around the city, or they're not looking at our country and going, I guess we can go there. Or they're not getting transferred and saying, gosh, really, Nashville? Like, Nashville is awesome. And the people who are moving here because Nashville is awesome. And it's awesome because of entertainment options. It's awesome because of, there's just great places to live. But it's the feel, it's the soul. It's what we all love about this city. And so if we can be seen, if we can be caught representing the city well, using our leadership well, showing up in the places that they care about, serving the people they care about, maybe we're not going to be their first favorite team, but maybe they'll like us, and maybe that like will have them buying a ticket or a hat or a T-shirt, and then maybe eventually they'll get into our ecosystem. There's a phrase that I have in my office: plant oak trees. So my dad had this friend, you know, at convenience stores when you go to grab a Pepsi or something, and you grab one and it slides down, the next one slides down. Well, I mean, it wasn't always that way, right? It was just flat, and you'd have to reach to the back. My dad's friend had goofed off, didn't go to college, and was a delivery person, and would go to these convenience stores, and he's like, gosh, well, if you can just kind of, you know, get an angle on it. So he invented that, and is just fabulously wealthy. And so he's got places all over, and at some point he bought this giant farm up in Wisconsin. He's up in the Chicagoland area, and he's doing nothing with the farm other than he went and planted these little oak trees, little tiny oak trees. And if you go to look at it, it's probably been 15 years since I've heard this story, so maybe there is a little bit of something to see, but if you looked out there at first, it was nothing. And his idea was, I may never benefit from this, but I want generations from now, my family, to come back to this place and it just have this be this beautiful oak forest, right? I just don't think we can be short-sighted on our impact to the community. We've got our new president of football operations is from the Green Bay Packers. We are not going to compete with the Green Bay Packers in terms of tradition if we're just trying to like hurry up in business plans to having the tradition of the Green Bay Packers. What we can do is plant oak trees, right? We can make these decisions today that are the right decisions. We're gonna see their strength maybe in 5 years, maybe in 10 years, maybe in 50 years, and I'm not actually around to see it. But those are the sorts of decisions we're trying to make that will stand the test of time.
A question about leadership when the times aren't going well. And I remember you and Holly came over to our house one night when the negotiations with the city were going on, and the Metro Council meetings were going past midnight and inconclusive. And that particular night, you're pretty upbeat and optimistic, but you didn't seem very optimistic that night. It was a tough stretch. The politics were intense, and yet you are one of the more even-keeled people who just kind of keep your nose to the grindstone, keep at it, perseverance. How do you get through the hard times, and how does that kind of even-keeledness help you? And Holly's got to be a tremendous resource.
Oh yeah, look, I don't think I've always been that way. I think I'm a big fan of the book Good to Great, and there's a lot of things that I don't know that relate to our business and the day-to-day, but I do believe in some of the leadership principles that they found in good businesses, great businesses, and one of the keys is having the will to prevail, and that really has resonated with me as, it's almost, there are times where you almost need to turn your brain off and deny some degree of reality of what's happening around you and maintain that optimism. There were definitely times over the last few years where, like that night in particular, where you just gotta, somebody gave me this analogy one time, and I think it's really strong. There are times when you need to just let the waves hit you, right? Like you're standing and you can kind of be marching against, and there are times where you just need to kind of like settle in and just let them hit you and feel it. Another similar, not all my analogies relate to the sea, but one of the things I found through this journey, because there were definitely days and weeks where just everything changed, and I found that there was an analogy in my mind that really was powerful, and that was trying to beat a riptide, where I'm not from the South, so we didn't spend a lot of time at the beach, and when I started going down there, the people would tell me, how to beat the riptide, right? Your instinct is you feel it and you want to just furiously swim against it, and you almost certainly will die. You will almost certainly drown if you fight against these clear forces. But if you just let yourself relax, you take a deep breath, and it's against your instincts, you let yourself drift out a little bit, you'll feel when there's an opportunity to swim back to shore, and it's probably at a different angle. It's probably not the angle that you're originally intending, but you'll make it. You'll get back to shore. And there were people in my circle on the leadership team and some of our consultants that things would happen. And I mean, it just looked like all was lost. Like there was just a path that was clearly closing up. And we would look at each other, and sometimes somebody would say, "Riptide." And you just kind of give yourself that afternoon, that day to process and at some point figure out, like, we'll make it to shore. Like, we're going to make it to shore. We are not going to drown. We're going to make it. But it might just be at a different angle.
Talk about how in the culture of the Titans and in your leadership, you think character matters and why it matters in shaping culture.
It's interesting timing. We do town halls about once a quarter with everyone in the organization, and I am so proud of the culture of our organization, especially as it's evolved over the last 5 or 6 years. We have the right people that have joined us, especially at the executive level, who are really, really good at what they do, but they're humble, they're team-oriented. But every year, the executive team does a retreat, and we talk about, so we're going to remind our staff of the mission, even though they don't need to be reminded. We're going to remind them of the values, the characteristics of our work, even our strategy, the specific work we're working on. But we talk about, like, what this year are the urgent areas of emphasis. Like, these are the things that if we don't get right, we won't meet the moment in front of us. And it's usually 4 or 5 different things, usually very business-oriented. And we came to this recognition last fall that, back to good to great, we're good at teamwork. We're not great at teamwork yet across our organization. And that's probably judging us too hard, but we really believe that we could be an incredibly special culture if we're rallying around this term this year, radical and genuine teamwork that is built on trust, and not trust that even somebody's going to do the work well. Like, sometimes people aren't going to, there's different levels of trust in the quality of the outcomes of the work. But like, we are going to say what we mean. We're going to eliminate meetings after the meetings. Where 8 people are in a meeting and 3 people meet afterwards to actually say what they mean and crush the other 5 people that were in that meeting.
I'm shocked that happens.
I was in the middle of, like, it felt a little bit sermon-y at this town hall, and I stopped at some point. I was like, I know this is awkward to even talk about. It's raw, it's radical, but I really believe that even if no other organization sees it this way, we can get to this last mile where we are built on integrity, we are built on trust, we are built on collective ego, not individual ego. And oh my gosh, what could we be? We've got the mission, we've got the values, we've got the strategy, we've got opportunities in front of us. What if we were radically committed to genuine, deep, I mean it, I'm not just giving lip service to it, rolling my eyes, leaving the room, teamwork?